Camille Reyes had been at Aldrin Wealth and Trust for 3 days, and she had not yet learned how to make her face look the way the senior associates' faces looked, arranged and unreadable, as though everything happening in the lobby were exactly what they expected. She was still practicing. That Tuesday morning, she was seated at the new accounts desk near the window, pretending to review a rate disclosure packet, when Mr. Theodore Wynn walked in. He was a tall man, somewhere in his late 70s, with close-cut white hair and a charcoal overcoat he had not yet unbuttoned, even though the lobby was warm. He carried a manila envelope under his arm and a slim leather briefcase in his other hand, worn at the corners the way things get worn when they are, used every day and cared for every evening. He signed in with the greeter and was directed to the private banking window, and he walked there at the measured pace of a man who had somewhere he still intended to be and had never once arrived late in his life. Camille noticed him because he noticed no one. Not the associate who fumbled the sign-in sheet, not the couple arguing quietly near the safe deposit corridor, not the branch manager, Dorinda Hess, who emerged from her office the moment the teller pulled up his account number and let a small, careful pause settle in the air between her and the screen. Camille would think about that pause later. She would think about how much was decided in it. Mr. Hess glanced at the teller's monitor. "Wynn, I'm going to need to step in here," she said it pleasantly. She always said things pleasantly. That was one of the first things Camille had noticed about her. "We have a flag on this account. Outgoing wire of this size requires additional verification. The transfer was for $140,000. Camille could see the amount on the adjacent screen from where she sat. It was, she would later learn, not the largest transfer Theodore Wynn had initiated from that account in the past decade. It was not close. "I'm happy to provide whatever you need," Mr. Wynn said. He set the envelope on the ledge and opened it. Account opening documents from 1994. 2 forms of current identification, the account number, the routing number, and the destination institution's confirmation code. He placed each item on the ledge in a neat row, the way a man places things when he has placed them before, on other ledges, in other rooms, in other decades, and has long since stopped being impressed by the ritual. Hess looked at the documents without picking them up. "The concern isn't the paperwork," she said. "A transfer of this size from an account with this history." She paused again. It was the second pause that mattered. The first might have been procedure. The second was something else. "We just want to be thorough," she said we. She did not say what about the account's history concerned her. She did not need to. Camille felt the lobby's temperature shift slightly. Not the air temperature, something underneath it, and a teller 2 windows down found something very important to study on her own screen. "I've held this account for 31 years, Mr. Wynn said. His voice was even, not cold, not warm, even. "I opened it the month my daughter started her first job. Every deposit, every withdrawal, every transfer, 31 years of records. They are all in the envelope." "I understand that," Hess said, "but I'm going to need a co-signature from a second manager before I can release the—" "Hold. It's our protocol." She looked at him steadily. "I'm sure you understand." He looked at her for a moment, not with anger, with a quality Camille could not yet name, but would spend a long time thinking about afterward. The look of a man who has been this exact place before, who knows exactly where it leads, and who has decided one more time to take the lawful door. "Could I have the number for your regional compliance office?" he asked. Hess's expression did not change. "I'm happy to connect you with our customer service line. Regional compliance," he said. "Not customer service. The compliance director for this district." There was a beat. "I can look that up for you," the teller said quietly, reaching for the phone directory before Hess could respond. But Mr. Wynn had already reached into the inside pocket of his charcoal overcoat. He produced a business card, ivory, simple, the Aldrin corporate letterhead, a name and a direct line handwritten in blue ink across the bottom. He set it on the ledge beside the manila envelope. "I have it," he said. "Thank you." He used the standing desk near the window. He dialed from his own phone. He spoke for 4 minutes. Camille counted, because she had stopped pretending to read the rate disclosure packet. He did not raise his voice once. He gave his name, his account number, the branch address, and a short, factual account of what had happened at the window. Then he thanked the person on the other end, ended the call, and stood at the standing desk with his hands folded, waiting. Hess retreated to her office. Through the glass, Camille could see her on her own phone. The 2 expressions, the manager's and the man's, were not similar. One was controlled urgency. The other was composed patience. The lobby hummed. Margaret Foss, the regional compliance director for Aldrin Wealth and Trust's downtown district, arrived 53 minutes later. She did not take the elevator. She came through the main entrance with her badge already clipped to her lapel, signed in, crossed the lobby floor without stopping at the greeter's desk, and went directly to the private banking window where Mr. Wynne was still standing, his envelope and his card still on the ledge. She was a compact woman in her early 60s, gray at the temples, with the unhurried efficiency of someone who has read a great many compliance files and knows, before she opens the folder, what she is going to find. She shook his hand. She said his name. Then she turned to the window and asked to see the account. What followed took 22 minutes. Camille witnessed all of it, because no one had told her not to look, and she understood that what was happening in that lobby was something she needed to see clearly. Foss reviewed the account documentation, the 31 years of records, the transfer request, and the internal fraud flag that had been placed on the account 47 minutes before Mr. Wynne had dialed his phone. She asked 2 questions of the teller. She asked none of Hess, who had emerged from her office and now stood near the corridor, her expression still arranged but no longer certain of what it was arranged to show. The fraud flag was cleared. Fossey made the notation herself. On the record, her employee credentials attached to the entry. She authorized the wire transfer. She provided Mr. Wynne with a printed confirmation and a written statement that the hold had been a procedural error and that his account remained in full standing. Then she asked Dorinda Hess to come with her. They went into the branch director's office, not Hess's. The door closed. It did not open for 19 minutes. When Hess emerged, she returned to her own office, sat down behind her desk, and did not come back onto the floor that afternoon. The letter arrived before the lobby emptied. A compliance associate, a young woman Camille had not seen before, brought a sealed envelope to the private banking window and asked that it be given to Mr. Wynne. He opened at the standing desk, read it once, folded it carefully, and returned it to the manila envelope alongside his account documents. He buttoned his overcoat. He picked up his phone and his briefcase. He thanked the teller, whose name he already knew, because he had been coming to this branch for 31 years and had learned the names of people who stood behind windows. He walked out through the main entrance, unhurried, at the same measured pace with which he had walked in. Later, the teller who had quietly reached for the phone directory would tell a colleague that she had seen Mr. Wynne every quarter for the better part of a decade and that she had never once, in all those years, seen him so much as raise his voice. He didn't need to, she said. He already knew what the records showed. The branch director met with the floor staff before closing. She did not discuss specifics. She said that a compliance review of the branch's flagging procedures had been opened, effective that afternoon, and that all associates were to adhere strictly to the written protocol for account verification. No deviation, no informal judgment calls at the window. She said that if anyone had questions about the policy, her door was open. She looked at the floor while she said it. Camille drove home that evening thinking about the manila envelope. She thought about the fact that Mr. Wynne had brought it, not because he expected to need it, but because experience had taught him that a man who looks the way he looks, walking into a lobby the way he walked into a lobby, is sometimes asked to prove what no one else is asked to prove. He had not arrived unprepared. He had arrived with 31 years of paper, and the direct line of the woman whose job it was to hold the institution to account, and the patience to use both calmly, in sequence, without raising his voice or breaking his posture or giving anyone in that lobby the satisfaction of seeing him unsettled. She thought about the pause. The second pause, the one that was not procedure. She thought about how long it must take a person to learn to stand still through a pause like that and wait for the truth to do its work. It was her 3rd day at Aldrin Wealth and Trust. She had not yet learned how to make her face look unreadable, but she had learned something else, something she suspected would take longer to unlearn than most of what she had studied to get the job. She had learned what composure looks like when it is not performance but principle. She had learned that the people who know the rules best are often the ones least surprised when the rules are finally applied. And she had learned that a manila envelope kept in good order, carried under the arm of a man who has been this way before, can be a more powerful thing than any expression a window can arrange. The window does not always see the whole truth. That Tuesday, 31 years of records did, and the compliance director made sure it was written down.